Hi, so today we're going to be walking through kind of the decisions that we made and kind of what's behind our NPW assignment, why we chose the assumptions that we did, the limitations of our model, and also the opportunity cost involved.
So we decided to do this instead of just re-explaining the whole calculations because we think the reason why we made the such assumptions is more important than the calculations themselves. They can be seen in our assignment, but the reasoning behind them is not as obvious.
Yeah, so first of all, we started off by treating his degree as an investment. And since net present worth is all about the present value of future earnings minus future costs, we needed a long-term cash flow model covering his whole working life.
But since the real career is very complex, we needed structure, so we followed a typical Big Four graduate progression plan because we felt it was most accurate and realistic given the example.
Yeah, and we also used a 5% discount rate. It just made the most sense. It's not too conservative, nor is it too aggressive. And it's what came up commonly in our lectures as well. But now we'll go through the assumptions we made and why.
So the main assumptions we made were salary. We went with a starting salary of 35,000, 10% bonus every year, 8% salary growth in the early stages in the years 2 to 3, and a 3% growth after year 4.
So for costs, we assumed living costs would start around 21,000 with 2% of inflation. We took a 30% tax rate that includes income tax and national insurance. Student loan of £1,000 per month worth of payments, which would roughly last around 27 years. And also the ACCA qualification costs for the first 3 years as well. Yeah, so after year 27, you'll notice that's when the student loan payments stop. And after that, you can kind of see that the cash flow becomes a little bit more predictable. That's why we decided to switch to a growing annuity formula, just because they follow a stable pattern, and using the annuity formula is, I guess, the most efficient way to do it.
Now with the big limitations, first, the module assumes perfect employment stability, no job loss, career breaks, things like that, which is not very realistic. Progression in your field is not linear. Things go wrong sometimes. Sometimes you might need to look for a different opportunity. So this kind of model doesn't really allow for those assumptions. And we also use fixed percentages for tax and student loan repayment. In reality, both are not also non-linear. They change with thresholds and depend on income each year. So we flatten these to keep the model workable.
Third of all, inflation and salary growth do not follow clean percentages forever. Obviously, there are economical cycles, recessions, promotions, job changes. All of those things can obviously affect Lukin's net present worth. So as our conclusion, and with Lukin's total net present worth of around £200,000, we kind of thought that this seems a little bit conservative, which I guess lines up with our assumptions. £200,000 isn't what you would think someone's entire life is worth, right?
Of course.
Yeah, considering that it's a university graduate, in a quantitative field.
Yeah.
But I feel like the reason for that is because we might have not administered opportunity cost possibly. But I think the main reason was because of our assumptions. Some of the growth rates were quite low. I know that from year 27 to 47, we put a steady growth rate of 1% per year, which is quite low, to be honest. We just wanted to be conservative with our numbers and not go over the top. But yeah, looking back, I think that's something that we could change for sure.
So overall, our decisions were about building a model that's realistic enough to reflect a graduate's financial life, but still simple enough to calculate.